US has no plans of imposing embargo on Bangladesh, says US Congressman. BNP sends letters to development partners over rights violation but never hires lobbyists, says Fokru. Myanmar observes countrywide general strike to mark coup anniversary. Assalamu alaikum. This is Afran Jum welcoming you all to Evening News. You have just heard the headlines. Now let's move on to the details. Influential U.S. Congressman and chair of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, Gregory W. Meeks, has said they do not want to impose any sanctions against Bangladesh and there is an excellent relationship between the Washington and Dhaka. He said this while addressing a fundraising luncheon function at a restaurant in New York's Queens area on Monday. Meeks, also an eminent lawyer, has been a U.S. representative of Democratic Party from New York since 1998. Meeks said U.S. is not putting any embargo against Bangladesh. The sanctions were imposed on some individuals of an organization, not the entire organization. Washington is looking into the scenario there, he added.
Who has a different viewpoint of most folks in this room. I told them of your viewpoint. And I told them that I'm not just going to say sanction even more people as they want it. That I'm going to listen to both sides. That I'm going to wait till the ambassador gets put on the ground. And I'm going to go to the State Department.
BNP has admitted that the party sent letters to Bangladesh's development partners abroad raising concerns about the human rights situations in the country under the current regime. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir came up with the disclosure at a press conference at the party's chairperson's Gulshan office in the capital today. But Mirza Fakhrul denied the allegations raised by the ruling government that BNP recruited lobbyists in the US to spread propaganda against Bangladesh. The BNP leader also demanded immediate resignation of the incumbent Awami League government for its human rights violations. BNP chairperson Khaleda Zia will return home tonight after 81 days of undergoing treatment at a Dhaka hospital. The BNP chairperson's media wing said she will return to her Gulshan residence Firoza from Evercare Hospital. Her physical condition is much better now, says the party leaders and officials. The 76-year-old former Prime Minister was readmitted to Evercare Hospital on 13th November last year, 6 days after she had returned home from the hospital. She was taken to the CCU the next day as her condition worsened. On 28th November, members of Khaleda Zia's medical team said she was suffering from liver cirrhosis. She is bleeding and needs to be taken abroad for better treatment. However, the government has not nodded in agreement in this regard. Following the outbreak of COVID, the government on March 25th last year granted her temporary release on conditions at the request of her family. Till now, the term of her release has been extended 4 times. Bangladesh has recorded 13,000 new COVID cases in a day. It also registered 31 deaths from the coronavirus in a day, taking the total death toll from the disease to 28,425. As many as 45,000 samples were tested across the country for a positivity rate of 29.17%. Among the 8 divisions, Dhaka recorded the highest number of cases and deaths, with nearly 8,000 infections and 19 fatalities. The latest figures put the recovery rate at 86.70%. And the mortality rate at 1.57%. Publishers have called on authorities to hold the Amor Ekushe book fair from February 15th to March 17th after it was delayed due to a resurgence of COVID cases. Publishers tabled the proposal in a meeting with Bangla Academy authorities today, said a member secretary of the Fair Management Committee and director of the Academy. Following the meeting, President of the Academic and Creative Publishers Association of Bangladesh said the Bangla Academy will send their request to the government in the form of a meeting resolution. If approved, Bangla Academy will officially announce the dates of the book fair. Two former police personnel, Pradeep and Liaquat, awarded death sentence over retired army officer Sinha Rashid Khan murder case were sent to the condemned cell of the prison. They were sent to the condemned cell of the Cox's Bazar district jail soon after the lower court verdict yesterday. Meanwhile, 7 police personnel cleared from the charges filed against them over the murder have been released from the prison. Yesterday, Judge Mohammad Ismail also jailed 6 other suspects for the acquitted 7 others in the closely watched verdict.
কেস ডায়েরি সহ সমস্ত কাগজপত্র মহামান্য হাইকোর্টের বরাবরে প্রেরণ করেন লাল শালু দিয়ে বিশেষ ধরনের প্যাকেট করে কারণ মৃত্যুদণ্ডাদেশ দিলেও ওইটা হাইকোর্টের কনফার্মেশন ছাড়া কার্যকর হবে না
Road Transport and Bridges Minister Obaidul Qadir has said the much-awaited Podda multi-purpose bridge will be opened for vehicular movement in next June. 96% of the bridge's main works have already been completed, and overall progress of the project is around 90.50%. Qadir, also General Secretary of the ruling Awami League, told journalists after a view exchange meeting with different Bridges Division officials this morning. The minister said 80% construction works of Bangabandhu Tunnel beneath the river Kornufuli in Chattogram also has been completed. Later, Indian ambassador in Bangladesh, Vikram Kumar Doraswamy, made a courtesy call with the minister at his secretariat office.
পদ্মা সেতুর কাজ প্রায় শেষ দিকে আমরা এবছরে জুনের মধ্যে এই সেতু যান চলাচলের জন্য মুক্ত করে দেব আশা রাখি এই মাঝে মূল সেতুর কাজ শেষ হয়েছে শতকরা 96 আর প্রকল্পের সার্বিক কাজের অগ্রগতি শতকরা 90.50%।
International news. Defying threats from the authorities, protesters in Myanmar's second biggest city took to the streets on Tuesday to mark the 1-year anniversary of the army's seizure of power. A small group in Mandalay marched early in the morning, carrying banners and chanting slogans calling for democracy. Opponents of military rule in Myanmar marked the 1-year anniversary of army's seizure of power with a nationwide strike to show their strength and solidarity amid concerns about what has become an increasingly violent struggle for power. The silent strike sought to empty the streets of Myanmar's cities and towns by having people stay home and businesses shut their doors from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The military's takeover a year ago ousted the elected government of Suu Kyi. About 1,500 civilians have died, but the government has been unable to suppress the insurgency, which some UN experts now characterize as civil war. Russia accused the West of whipping up tensions over Ukraine and said the U.S. has brought pure Nazi to power in Kyiv as the UN Secretary Council held a stormy and bellicose debate on Moscow's troop buildup. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield dismissed a charge by Russian Ambassador Vasily Nebenza that Washington has trying to whip up hysterics and use megaphone diplomacy by calling the first Security Council meeting on the crisis.
Imagine how uncomfortable you would be if you had 100,000 troops sitting on your border in the way that these troops are sitting on the border with Ukraine. For us, this is about peace and security. It's about honoring the UN Charter that calls on us as members of the Security Council to protect peace and security. So this is not about antics. It's not about rhetoric. It's not about U.S. and Russia. What this is about is the peace and security of one of our member states.
Before ending, let's have a look on the headlines once again. U.S. has no plans of imposing embargo on Bangladesh, says U.S. Congressman. BNP sends letters to development partners over rights violation but never hires lobbyists, says Fokrul. Myanmar observes countrywide general strike to mark coup anniversary. And that's all from the newsroom for now. To know updates, videos of this bulletin, visit our website www.ntvpd.com. Besides, visit our YouTube and verified Facebook page for updates over NTV's all popular programs and bulletins. Our next bulletin, Sondhar Khobor, will be aired in Bangla at 7:30 p.m. Thank you for being with us. Have a good time.